Hi there.
Hello, Jen.
How are you? Yes,
I am doing very well, thank you. Can you hear me okay?
I can. Hear you
Excellent.
loud and clear.
Excellent. I'm glad I got it all set up. So very nice to meet you.
It's a pleasure.
The name that just popped on the wrong end and all.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
thought you
yeah.
would I thought you would be much older. And here you are just a young thing.
It's really good moisturizer and creams.
Is that it? Okay, well I'm it's
Love it. But
working
thank you.
well
Well,
for
thank
you.
you.
I'm at the other end of kind of my career. I've been working for many years as the typical struggling actor, and I've had a career that I very much like. But one of the things that I've always wanted to do is kind of I don't have a very big um, bucket list,
Okay.
but in other words, the things like the seeing the pyramids have little interest to me. But doing some certain things have great interest to me, and so one of them is to, if possible, perform somewhere near Broadway in New York. I've performed
Okay.
uh, my show that I've been doing. I don't know if you've had a chance to see the links that I sent.
I saw the Ben Franklin
Yeah,
situation.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
That's my main thing. I also have a great love affair with Shakespeare and also doing Celtic music and stuff. But I think if I had to pick one piece that is kind of the best thing that I do is probably the one man show on and as Ben Franklin. Have you ever seen a Chautauqua?
I have.
Oh,
I
good.
have. It's been some time, but yes.
Okay, so well, some people don't know what it is, although it's evidently Theodore Roosevelt said Chautauqua is the most American thing in America, and but it started in the late 1800s and it kind of developed. But there's still a number of people who do it, and it's different. I saw Hal Holbrook years ago do Mark Twain Tonight, which was a
Oh my
phenomenal
gosh.
show.
So great.
Got to meet him after, and he was of course very gracious, and just poured himself out on stage for the last couple hours, and he's still meeting people and talking to them. But it's a little bit different than that. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's completely improv, so you're just out there. And so, what kind of brought me here was that I'm coming to New York in a couple of weeks. I have a patron who takes me to New York every 3 or 4 years.
It's amazing.
Uh, it's kind of like I'm not gonna. I mean, she's wonderful and she's very kind, and but she's interested in my career, and we just like really hanging out together. And then these ads started popping up for Broadway Plus, and
Yeah.
I went, well, I have no idea how to do this thing that I want to do. And here's this ad, and here's a person I can talk to,
There you
and I
go.
can help. I can help support you in this dry period. So I went.
Much appreciated. Much appreciated.
Absolutely. There is. It's real. Actually, it's a privilege and an honor for me to talk to somebody who's been in one of the great theater centers in the world, and I've done some stage managing, and of course, as most actors do. I've built sets. My degrees in theater, and when we spent a lot of our time doing makeup, doing set design, doing stage managing
Absolutely.
stuff. And uh, I don't know. Do you still even look at the book called Backstage A to Z by Tyke
Oh yeah.
Lansbury?
Oh, I have it. It's sitting above my desk. I use it as my like technical Bible for
It
everything.
it I'm so thrilled. One
Great.
of the credits in there is for Norm Bollinger. If you're looking at, he didn't really co-write it, but
Right.
he's one of Tyke Lounsbury's associates. That's who I studied with at Eastern Washington University.
There you go.
And so yeah, so Norm Bollinger it was a phenomenal talent, and I was never all that technically great. I can build flats, but I'm as far
Right.
as high end design or light design, I could throw out a McCandless and something for light design, but
But
it's
you
not.
know what it is because of that.
But I
You
know what it
know?
is,
Exactly.
and so I'm it's pleasing to know that that book is still
Oh,
about.
it's still heavily, heavily used. I mean, I've done a ton of master classes, and it's always like one of those things that, especially like for college students that are, wanting to kind of dip their toe in the water. I'm like, no, that's something that you have to have. Like you just have to have it in your repertoire. Like it will never not be useful. Even if you're no longer practicing in the industry anymore, that book is useful for so many other things. Like it's fantastic. It's a nice little go-to for almost anything.
Yeah, and considering that when it was written, that it's still being used
Yeah.
is,
Yeah.
is quite cool. So now your background, just I want to know too.
Yeah.
You did you come up through community theater and just or did you fall into what? How'd you get there?
Yeah, I did a little bit of everything. So I grew up in Texas.
Oh,
Um,
that's right. Yeah, you went to
yeah,
UT.
UT. Yeah,
Okay,
I'm one of
because
those Longhorn peoples.
yeah, I performed for 3 years over at College Station, at
Oh, Aggie territory.
Aggie territory, because the George H.W. Bush Presidential Library is
Yep.
there, and
Yep.
they brought me down for 3 years to do my Ben Franklin there at the Annenberg Center,
Oh,
uh,
that's fantastic.
right across the mall from the library, and I did my
And the
Ben Frank.
library is fantastic too.
Yes. Oh,
It's
I
so
spent a
great.
lot of time wandering through that, and then I was their guest because it was almost always around Christmas time that I went
Hmm.
down. So they had a big Christmas celebration put on by the Chamber of Commerce, and I went there as Ben Franklin as well and talked to people, and it's kind of an added little bump. But
I love that.
that was a really, because of course they flew me in, put me up in a hotel,
Hmm.
and then I did two shows in the Annenberg at their theater, and then it was video broadcast about 20,000 students nation or across North America.
Oh,
I
that's
guess went into
fantastic.
Canada. So that was a pretty nice piece of tech, and
Oh yeah.
but I I've but anyway, yeah. So the Texas connection, and then sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself.
No, 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 you're
And
fine.
so you went from UT to New
Well,
York. Did you make it?
yeah. Well, yeah, it was a little bit of a kind of weird direct line. I had, while I was doing my undergraduate degree, I kind of had started to spread out a lot in that area. I mean, Austin happens to be a very fantastic place to kind of spread your wings a little bit. There's a nice little hub for some community theater there. There's one union house that's an equity house that you can kind of also, like dip your toe in the water a little bit there. And there are so many other things. I mean, you've got ACL and South by Southwest, so all of those giant festivals and concerts that came in. So I just really tried as best as possible to kind of spread out as much as I could to kind of figure out at the time, especially because I was so young in the industry, just kind of what direction I wanted to go in and what path. Because that was kind of, a little bit of a catalyst for knowing, all right, well, I want to end up in live entertainment, but okay, so what's my niche? And so that was a little bit of that. And I actually had found out about an apprenticeship at the Juilliard School. And
Oh,
so I
cool.
applied for it. Yeah, I applied for it not thinking I would get it. There's, some crazy number of applicants every year, and they only accept 9 people each year for
Wow.
said apprenticeship. And it's nine, it's 9 stage managers that essentially share a closet of an office, which is hilarious. But you're brought on as an apprentice, but you're technically on staff for the school. So you get to be the resident stage manager for all of the student productions that are going out. So all those drama students that are filing through that, are dealing with their Shakespeare projects and, their third year kind of, language projects within the drama division. Along with, of course, like the opera and dance students, and just kind of got to play around in that realm. And I applied for it again, not thinking I was going to get it. And then it happened. And it was just a quick moment where, I mean, New York was always the end goal, no matter
Mhm.
what. Like, eventually, I was like, absolutely, of course, I would love to work on Broadway. I would love to be in New York City. But I never had set a real timeline for it until
Mhm.
that apprenticeship happened, which is what they call it now. Back at the time, it was an internship. And so I applied for it again, not just like, oh, that would be great. That would be nice if it happened. And then it did. And it, like, quite literally within like about a month and a half after receiving the notice that I got it, it was that moment of, all right, pack everything up. I guess I'm driving to New York City. And I've been here ever since. So
And your family has been behind you on all this?
yeah,
No.
it's taken such a, well, it's interesting because I think also the kind of hilarity about being a stage manager or any in any type of really like production or management kind of umbrella within our business.
Hmm.
There always seems to be across the board, even now with people in the business. I mean, I feel like there's always some kind of ambiguity and kind of aloofness, only because so many people don't understand necessarily what we do because the umbrella is so wide, and what, that reach is just so far.
Hmm.
So there are so many little jobs and tasks and things that we do, and that's kind of, that goes to kind of the same, you within the same vein of my family kind of picking up in it, where it was that moment of like, oh, that's great, that's, you're doing a thing, wait, so are you an artist? Are you not an artist? Are you, I'm confused because you're freelancing and you're not making a lot of money, but what is happening? But you're in a management position. So there's always this weird ambiguity of like, wait, so what's going on? What's happening?
So
Yeah.
you don't come from a performing arts family?
No, no, not at all. No, my mother was a teacher. So it is very,
That's
very
her.
different. Yeah, no, she is a rock star, but yeah, no, she's now retired, but she was a teacher for many, many years. She's always enjoyed the arts and music. She used to be a musician when she was younger. And then, as kind of happens with a lot of people, she did the hard pivot and into her career, and then just like never revisited or retouched that,
Mm.
aside from being an audience member and doing that.
Oh,
So, yeah.
Th- Thomas Jefferson.